What's up, everybody? Once again, it's Brand Man Sean, and it's Saturday, so it's time to get a thought out. It's been super important to me. I've been having this conversation for about 3 months now. Never even thought to do it here, so let's do it though. Artists, I know you guys have been struggling to make money. A lot of you guys, producers, I know it's the same. Managers, all you guys, but you got to have hope, and this is why. As I said, I've been having this conversation for a while. People have been bringing it to me. I've been bringing it to other people. But it was confirmed yesterday when I was at this event. There was a few influencers in the room. You know, pretty small event. But Key 21 Savage's manager, the guy who runs Love Renaissance, Black, Rory, you know, all of them. They were basically talking about the fact that hip-hop being considered now the more listened to genre in comparison to rock, hip-hop and R&B, actually being considered the more listened to genre than rock, is actually almost not even worth mentioning. It's something that's just affirming something that we already knew. If you already understand culture, how it affects the world, you really already knew this. It's been that way, but now they are officially giving it the crown because they can measure it. Why can they measure it? Because before, hip-hop, R&B, those are the most pirated genres of all genres. But now we have streaming. So what does streaming do? Streaming allows you to basically measure a lot of those people who weren't going to buy before, because now people are opting in to pay $10 a month or whatever they're paying a month for platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, and now they can be measured in terms of how many people are listening to it. Before, they would count radio, record sales, things like that. But when most people, the vast majority of the audience of hip hop is not buying this record labels, the records, you know, you really only have Suburbia really supporting the genre like it should be, then you can't get a full scope of how big that audience base is. Now, like I said, because of streaming, all of those people that are getting onto those platforms and wouldn't buy albums before, they're still listening. They have that same behavior, so they can be measured. So if that's a little confusing to you, think about it this way. Back in 2004, and you can quote me on these numbers or like look back and fact check me because it's kind of off the cuff, but to my memory, back in 2004, Forbes quoted the music business at $34 billion a year. It was valued at $34 billion a year. If you look at a lot of reports now, it's only $7 to $8 billion a year. Now, does that make sense? All of you guys who have into culture, you're listening to music. You know that music is being listened to more than ever. Artists are touring more than ever. There are more artists than ever. So how the hell is it now valued at, what is that, like a fourth of where it is, a little bit less than a fourth of where it used to be 10, 15 years ago? Well, like I said, pirating. So not only the hip hop genre, just music as a whole, people are getting this stuff for free. So now the music industry wasn't capturing the value associated with consuming the music. But because of streaming, the direction is going. Spotify is paying like $5 billion in royalties alone, but that still has a lot of growth to go. Like, they only have like 120 million registered users, and we already know that's a small portion of the actual music listening market, right? There's 7 billion people in the world. As more people get onto streaming platforms like that, artists will be getting more and more money. And now, hey, I could say I'm putting out an album and have some price associated with it, but now I could put out a free mixtape on these platforms and I'm still getting money and almost record sales, because people are actually saying what, like 50, is it like 15 streams is equal to a single traditional record sale? They're still getting almost basically record sales off of their streams. So why this is really important and interesting to think about is the fact that if more people are going to be getting and onto these streaming platforms, then more money will be going into the artist's pocket. I know it seems like a small number at this time per listen, but over time, the amount of people that will be getting on these platforms will give you more access to money and capital than ever, and more access to the data so you can be specific to your actual user bases. And especially for hip hop and R&B, there will be so much money in comparison to the struggle of figuring out how to make money before. in association with your record sales is going to be crazy, because people are listening to this music in the platform. People who weren't going to buy ever and still aren't going to buy are still listening. So you're now getting money as if they bought. That is huge. And if you guys don't realize, I am all about artists making their money. That's why I talk about artist marketing and branding, because I want you to get seen. I want your product to get seen. I want you to have control of how you are perceived, but I also want you to know and monetize the actual consumption, right? I want you to monetize and get money for the value that you're putting out in the world, your art. It's huge. If you don't understand exactly some of the things I was saying in this video, then let me know in the comments, because I could always clarify what I'm talking about. Maybe somebody else has something to add. I think that'll be dope. Rapper Geek, if you're watching this, that'll be cool. If you could say something, Sir Love, anybody who like watches this and has a deep understanding of music business and where it's going. Also, if I need to do some sort of part 2 down the line, I would. That's cool. But once again, that's just a thought. A lot of thoughts, actually. But y'all have a good day. Got to go to this wedding later. Peace.